Andrew Little.
Thank you, Mr Chairman. I'd like to take a moment to address clauses 6 and 38 of the bill, as well as the supplementary order papers 177 and 172. And just note that, notwithstanding what the Minister and the Chair has just said, is that the requirements for insulation that he is laying out, a requirement that there be insulation, delegating it for regulation to determine what the standards will be, it's pretty clear that there will be ample rental housing that simply will not meet the 2008 standard that he glowingly talks of now. The reality is that his bill means that there will be rental housing that simply will not come up to the 2008 insulation standard. But there is something that is even more disappointing, and that is it is just confined. This bill and the new standards that rental properties must meet, whether income-related rent properties or not, the only standards, additional standards they now have to meet is an insulation standard and a smoke alarm standard. And it has been alarming to see in the justifications that the Minister gives that it includes, and he made this statement on the 19th of April 2016 when he said, the new tenancy regulations will make 180,000 homes warmer and drier by requiring insulation. Right. And I have news for the Minister, adding insulation does not make a house warmer. Right. It will retain whatever warmth there is, it will retain whatever coolness there is. It will not add warmth. It will not make houses warmer. And so this is a lost opportunity. And when the Minister talks about houses that are safer because they have smoke alarms, he might just want to reflect on houses that at the moment are making people, including young children, sick and are therefore unsafe, and just what a difference he could make if Clause 6, which refers to the tenancy agreements, and Clause 38, which refers to the new powers for regulation making, in fact added a requirement that not only should there be insulation as determined by the regulations, but a form of heating as determined by regulations, and the regulation making power allows ample flexibility for him as Minister or the department administering the legislation to ensure that it is not just one form of heating that counts. And I know that part of his criticism on suggestions that other minimum standards should be added, such as a source of heating, is that it's all just about heat pumps. It's not. Now, this is an opportunity for this House with his bill to actually get it right, and we could expedite the Parliament's time, this House's time, on my Healthy Homes Guarantee bill by actually the Minister admitting that perhaps we can make some modest improvements now that would allow those standards to be added. And with the regulation making power and the new amended section 138 and the clause 38, that would allow ample flexibility and provide some reassurance to that part of the constituency that is concerned about, who might be thinking they could be put to extra cost. I want to refer to SOP 172, Materia Toure's SOP, because it does contain a list of additional standards that might be added. And the Minister is critical, for example, of visibility strips. He is a former Minister of ACC. He will know from the data from ACC that a common household accident is people walking into ranch sliders and floor-to-ceiling glass. And in modern architecture, and a growing number of people living in apartments, and if only there were more of them to alleviate the housing crisis that doesn't exist, we will probably see more of this. And so actually visibility strips isn't such a silly idea, and it is, after all, an inexpensive idea. And I'll just prevail on the Minister while he is in the chair, while he's got the time and the attention of this House, this piece of legislation at a time when the entire country is gripped in issues of housing and housing standards and housing qualities. Now is a time for leadership. And he is capable of providing leadership. It's happened before, I'm sure of it. But he could actually step up and say the insulation is important, but a source of heating to keep heat in the house, and which is what the insulation is there to do, is equally as important. And those other standards that have been laid out in SOP 172 are equally important for safety reasons for tenants living in rental properties. He could do it today.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Dr. Nick Smith.
Mr. Chairman, delighted to have the opportunity to respond to the challenge from Mr.